Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Show. It is my pleasure to be with you today. I'm Mireille. You know me as the Greatness Engineer. And today I have a Greatness Engineer as well coming to us. And we will learn a lot from my guest today, just to give you a little bit of insight here and just for you to have, to know who I'm talking to today. I'll be talking to Fernando Marrero, and we will talk about his bold journey from, coming from the ghettos of Philadelphia to becoming an actor, and in between having a very successful wrestling career. And it's always good to have those stories of triumph because it inspires us to also get to, to push ourselves and to go to the next level of our greatness. So let us know where you're watching from, if you're watching live, and if you gonna watch the show later on, you can always put any comment, and I will give the comment or address them myself, and if I can, I will reach out to my guest, to Fernando, to actually address, connect you if that's necessary. So have your pen and paper as usual because a lot will be shared today, and I think it's a good learning. So it will be a good thing to learn from Fernando experience, and then to you to apply some of the tools and some of the processes or some of the resources that will be shared today. So don't go anywhere. We will start now, and let us know again where you're watching from, and don't hesitate to participate if you have question, or if you just want to you have something to share with us. So we are starting, and I'm bringing Fernando now. Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show that is brought to you by the Virai Global Leadership Organization.
Real is important is if you just look at the word compassion, when it's behavior, it's something that can be learned, and it is something that we can embody through habits and through our daily action.
To get this idea that if we interject this wisdom intentionally, I call them needle movers. It's the needle mover that's missing.
Don't deprive the world of your greatness. Please. Don't do that anymore. Dare to excel, dare to be sexy, dare to be you, dare to be the best version of yourself. Impact yourself positively, and from there impact others, and you are not alone. So welcome, Fernando. Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Show. It is a pleasure to have you today.
for me, I'm starting my day, so it's a good way to start my day. And I'm so excited about, what's coming. So before, we start our conversation, I just want you to add to anything that I've shared so far about you. Who are you? What do you stand for? And what do we really need to know about you?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I mean, for having me on your platform and giving me an opportunity to be showcased in front of your audience is greatly, overwhelmingly appreciated. My name is Fernando Marrero, originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, living out of Los Angeles, California. Entertainer, uh, actor, stuntman, former professional wrestler, former Brazilian Jiu Jitsu martial arts practitioner and competitor. From MMA to BJJ to professional MMA fighting to professional wrestling, and professional wrestling led to an opportunity to, professional acting in Hollywood. And it's just been definitely a journey, to say the least. And I'm immensely, eternally grateful to the Most High.
hmm And I mean, like you said, it's been a journey, and it's not always easy. From where you started to where you are right now. I think sometimes things people, when they see the latest what's happening in your life, they think that that's where you started. So what I really wanted to know is what have been really the challenges that you had to face, and how did you manage to to push through and to be where you are.
Oh, wow. I mean, just to start off, I started in combat sports, um, MMA, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, professional wrestling, so definitely discipline and hard work and dedication and commitment has, always been a part of who I am. Journey wasn't overnight. I came from tough environments. You know, I put in years of training, sacrifice, commitment. I had to fight to earn respect inside the cage, outside the ring, in Hollywood, and definitely nothing has ever come easy, so definitely transitioning into acting from the combat sports, background and everything else that I've done. I'm also ex-military, served in the U.S. military, two different branches, two different stints, prior Air Force, prior Army. So again, it was like starting over in many ways, but I took that same soldier's mentality and that same fighter's mentality, with me, keep learning, stay hungry. And, pretty much you got to show up prepared, the whole,
Mhm.
the opportunity meets preparation type thing.
Yeah, and that was actually going to be my question, where what did you bring from what you've learned in the military, in the wrestling, and that actually position yourself or give you an advantage in in your current career, because it is challenging. Hollywood, to make it in Hollywood, it's not that
Mhm.
easy. I mean, we see it, we see people just becoming acting into big movies, but it's not easy. There's a long way. So what do you think are the key? I mean, you've mentioned already one, but let's say the three, four, or five things that you brought from your previous career that actually led to you being in the road to success now in your acting career.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely after retiring from professional competition, I knew I wanted to go all in acting, um, and entertainment. I knew that I wanted the type of person, the type of artist that I am. When I go all in, I want to give it as much justice as possible. I want to respect the craft and hone the craft and truly, be a beacon of hope and of opportunity, and just really showcase that, what, I do belong. I wasn't, no shade, but you get a lot of social media influencers, in my opinion, who don't really take the craft seriously, or just because they have a lot of followers or whatever influencing that, impact that they have in moving the needle forward in their respective lane or field, if you will. But you also get a lot of those influencers who really don't, take the craft seriously. And, I wanted to give the craft, or anything that I attempt to do or follow through with, as much respect and honor. And, I took acting classes for about 4 years, from 2016 to 2020, got a manager, got an agent, and just constantly in this business, it's about investment. You have to constantly reinvest into yourself as the artist. And what I love about this industry is the ability to express yourself, take on new challenges, and constantly evolve. Acting allows me to pretty much channel everything I've been through physically and mentally, into storytelling. And in the process of that, it's also cathartic, release therapy, if you will, gives an artist an opportunity to impact a lot of things from what they've had to experience, throughout life. But also too, it's a way to share your experiences with the world, and in hopes of impacting so many different people, to constantly effect positive, impactful change, but on a global scale. You never know what your story or your history or your background, could do for somebody, how, much impact, how inspiring it can be, how many lives it could change, or inspire someone to say, you know what, man, I could do that too. And no matter who you are, where you come from, what you've been through, it's never too late. And I am a living, walking, breathing example, a living, walking testimony of such.
And our life is, and we realize, and that's what you've just mentioned, is not just for us. It's by sharing whatever we went through, by living, by example, we actually can inspire someone else, or someone that is, in a difficult position, and give them hope, and start triggering something that that will bring to something exceptional, something that they couldn't actually believe that they could do, but just seeing it is actually giving them hope that they can also do it. So we got to have a small break, and we will be back, continuing talking about understanding the journey, and especially the new journey with, this movie coming up, and seeing how this opportunity came up, and what's next as well. So don't go anywhere. If you're watching if you're just joining us now, my guest today is Fernando Marrero, and we are talking about his journey from starting as a military wrestling, and now into pushing his career into acting. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in few minutes.
Is Kasia Trepanier. I'm from Hammond, Louisiana, which is about 30 minutes outside of New Orleans.
Our end thing is love, community, and never forget about the people that paved the way.
Art is the only medium to help us understand that there is a lot more to life than fight.
Whatever you do in your personal life trickles into your business life. And a lot of times people fail in business because they have not succeeded in life.
I want to be able to be contributing, one of those guys that really are doing significant work to better the lives of people.
Every change is linked to a consciousness raising, and change is conscious. And if you want to change something in your life, start with your breathing. Start to work on your breathing.
Leave something for people to learn from. Make a video, write a book, teach, go around, teach the younger generation or the next generation to help them become or follow the path that you've been.
So we are back. We are back with Fernando. We are talking about his journey. It's a very bold one, and I hope that it's going to inspire you to actually push yourself, and really invest in yourself and go to the next level So I just wanted to know, Fernando, so what was the trigger for you to go into, into acting, and how did this opportunity to be featured in the movie? I can't remember the title anymore. Again, the new movie that coming out is
Happy
Kemi
Gilmore too.
actually. The Gilmore 2, sorry, yeah, Happy Gilmore 2. How did it come to you so far?
Yes, ma'am. I guess there was a couple things that kind of triggered me to pivot um, from my professional fighting and professional wrestling careers. Just like I got an opportunity. Even though I've been competing, training, and fighting. As far as MMA, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, started actually kind of late in life at the age of 24, and took it as far as I could go. And yeah, again, was one thing, father times undefeated, and this body's got a lot of miles on it. So, MMA, jiu-jitsu, professional fighting led to an opportunity in professional wrestling. And when I got started in professional wrestling, I was a bit older for that than the typical person that starts. I was about 35 when I started professional wrestling back in 2015. And then just because of my background and my mindset, my mentally tough disposition, my fortitude, I just had what it takes to make that transition smoothly. And I went from professional wrestling and take me long to catch on and get trained up and start competing and traveling the road and doing independent promotions and independent shows with some of the who's who and some of the best in the business, past, present, and future. And that opportunity led to actually working with Adam Sandler and Terry Crews back in 2016. That was my break into the industry, where I was tapped for lead, then subsequently got my SAG eligibility and joined the SAG Afters Union. And that was for Sandy Wexler. In 2016, I came in as a stuntman. And then here we are. It's like a full circle moment. Here we are, 2025, almost 10 years later, from working with Adam Sandler for the first time. And then almost 30 years later from the sequel, it's only fitting that here we are, part of the franchise, Happy Gilmore 2. And had an opportunity to audition for the role of Screech. Submitted the self-tape audition, and they nailed it. And they remembered me from almost a decade ago, working with Terry Crews and Adam and Sandy Wexler. And man, it's just been magic ever since. And super, super, super grateful, eternally thankful, to Adam and Happy Madison and Netflix and all the guys and gals over there for definitely bringing me on board and allowing me to have fun in the playground with you guys.
Mm-hmm. It's an amazing story, isn't it? So how, how is it to work with those very well-known actors? How do you feel? How do you what is the connection? I know you said that you've worked before with Adam Sandler, but in this movie with the crew, how is it going, and how did it go basically? What did you learn in the process?
Oh yeah, well, working with Adam Sandler and the rest of the cast and crew it was an incredible experience. I mean, there's so much talent, so much legacy, that comes to mind in that film, and just throughout both films, and just the history of the franchise and everything else that he's ever touched, laid his hands on. Like King Midas, he's got the King Midas touch. A lot of people don't realize and remember, but when the first Happy Gilmore came out in 1996, it bombed at the box office, didn't do well, but it gained steam and momentum throughout the years and became this iconic, like cult pop culture classic. But definitely this role represents a new chapter for me in the entertainment world, and I'm excited to bring something unique and amazing and awesome to the table.
And what do you think you were suitable for the for that role that you got for Happy Gilmore 2? Do you think there is something special? I mean, it's just for the for the audience to understand what it takes sometime to to be able to position yourself and get those competitive, put yourself in in a role that can be very competitive. So just wanted to understand if there is something special that you think have actually given you a competitive advantage to be. I know you mentioned there was already a connection, but there are other people that Adam is connected with. So what do you think have
Absolutely.
made? Mhm.
No, well, what I think is ultimately what it comes down to is hard work, sacrifice, and commitment. The various immeasurable qualities that you gotta possess, you gotta have in order to keep going. Because this is a tough business. It's a war of attrition. You gotta have stamina. It's like whoever has the most endurance, whoever can last the longest, they're going to last, they're going to make it because, to whoever has that stamina, that endurance, they're going to see it through. Everybody's going to get an opportunity. You'll be on deck and you'll have your chance, but are you going to be ready? And a lot of people aren't ready, or you got some people that actually quit midway through the journey and midway through the process. And it's usually those times when you're feeling weary and you want to quit and you want to give up. Those are the times that potential breakthrough is on the other side, and you just got to hold on. You got to keep fighting, and you got to just keep going. It's like me. I don't know what no is. Got to have some thick skin, some tough skin, and be good, okay with rejection, and just keep going, keep pressing forward. Take the bitter with the sweet. Take the yes and the no's, because you're going to get a lot more no's than a lot of yeses. But when those yeses hit, oh man, it's amazing.
Exactly. And it's just like, when, for people who are mining diamond, you press to get it, because it's so raw at the beginning, but you have to continue to press to get this, very, valuable, diamond that is costing so much. So it's just the same thing in life, which is what you describe. It's that, you have to keep pushing. There's going to be no's, there's going to be, it's not going to be a straight line, but you have to be committed and put the work and keep the vision alive, because otherwise it's not possible. And just wanted to understand, if you bring yourself back, in where you started, and you look at what you've basically accomplished, what do you think? Do you have any regret, or do you have anything that you would have told yourself back then that would have, make things better or quicker, or something that you really think about?
Man, I really wish I would have discovered this business a lot sooner, than what I did in 2016, which just kind of happened by chance. I never, growing up, I guess, dreamed of being an actor or on TV or none of that kind of stuff, but it's just something that was just a light and a fire that was ignited within me way back when. And, where I guess I saw that it was tangible, it was feasible. You know what, I can do this. And if I commit myself and work my butt off, that, anything's possible. And by the grace of God, here we are, so again, you just got to just keep pressing forward, keep going, and just, you just got to go for it. I think the biggest tragedy in life, in my personal opinion, is anyone who goes throughout life and living their life or dying, ending their existence without tapping into their full potential. With untapped potential, oh my God, like that's such, a tragedy, and for my hope and my wish for everyone in life is to get to a point, spiritually or consciously within themselves, to where, what, realize you are enough, you're more than enough. And whatever you put your mind to, whatever it is that you desire, that you want in life, it is attainable, it's possible. You just got to go for it. You just got to go for it, and just fight for it. You got to fight for your dreams, and you got to be fearless.
Mm-hmm. That's so powerful. You got to fight for your dreams. But, we also, have to fight against, what we call the system, because the education system, put limits on what, because you talk about the full potential, but then the education system limits you. You have, grades and things like that, and you have to, so you start thinking that that's your limit, and you go in life and you don't even know, that you have potential. So how do you discover? Do you have any tools or any idea how you, when and what can trigger that you remember that I'm enough, and I have a limited potential, and the limit that they put on myself is not my limit. I have to go above that limit. So what was the tool for you, or are you aware of any tool that can help someone who is like right now have potential but doesn't even know that this potential is there?
Yeah, no, no, definitely. I mean, like once upon a time ago, and still throughout life, like I've always felt as though that I was destined for great things, for amazing things, for bigger things than what my current situation throughout various dispensations in life had dealt to me. I've been dealt some pretty bad hands, but we can't help our circumstances or what we're born into, but we can help how we react, how we are proactive subsequently to better ourselves and our lives and our situation. And I just knew that I always wanted more. And I come from, poverty, disenfranchisement, social economic status, like you're talking about, earlier, just with the grades and the system. And there's various systems that are implemented that will keep, various marginalized groups of people marginalized. And I just knew I just always wanted to be a beacon of hope. I wanted more. I wanted more for my people. And if God was to ever bless me to be on a platform, to have the potential and opportunity to show his grace, mercy, and power through me, to where it can affect that change and move the needle forward, for our people, then so be it. I'm here. I understand the assignment, and I'm a man of purpose, and I'm a man of conviction, and before anything, and I just want to constantly do my part, and just to add whatever little bit, goodness, more goodness, and love and grace and compassion. I'm learning to be more empathetic as I'm getting older, and the world is definitely, we're living in some strange times, and if we've had a little bit more love, a little bit more empathy, a little bit more compassion, I think definitely the world would be better off. Oh my goodness, so much.
And yes, and love is everything, and that's definitely a message that we need to push, to love each other, and to try to work and live with each other without bitterness, and going to extreme, and trying to to erase, I would say, other people, which is not something that we want to do. So I just wanted to also know, did you have any, because obviously you already have this strong belief that you wanted to do, something more, and was pushing for it. Did you have any role model inspiring you around you, as well, in the process, and how those role models actually impacted your journey?
Definitely, I would say definitely first and foremost, like my foundation, my rock, my everything were my maternal grandparents, Blanche Marrero and Santiago Marrero. Is my mother's parents, and without them, oh my goodness, who knows where I would be. Again, I was blessed to have them for the first 15 years of my life. And here I am now as a middle-aged man, and there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't sit in a deep state of reflection and, just thinking about the love and the words of wisdom and of both of my grandparents, and just the deep, deep, profound gratitude that I have for them and for God for allowing me to have them. I'm actually, after the premiere, on my way before I flew back to Los Angeles or whatnot, I had to take a drive from New York City all the way down to Coatesville, Pennsylvania, where my grandmother's buried at. Visit, had to pay her graveside a visit, put some flowers down, and I just had to talk to grandma, and it's not a day that I don't think about or miss her. And, she was one of the great, if not the greatest woman that I've ever known.
And that's important. That's important to have, because, like you mentioned, it's not always easy. The road is really, really rocky, and sometimes you need people
Lonely
that
at
can
times.
ground you. People, yeah, and you need people that can ground you. People that you can go back to, where you can be vulnerable, and they will lift you up. And from what you're saying, your grandparents, and especially your grandma, was really the one here. So really, really inspiring. So we're gonna have another break, and then what I really want to know after that is, you are here, you've traveled that far. Is really to understand, what's next. And one of the questions that I really love, my guests to answer is the magic question that I normally ask at the end of the show. But before we reach this stage, we're just going to have another break, and then we'll be back with you to conclude on this conversation.
Mayor Kashina A. Cross from the city of Glen Arden, Maryland, born and bred all the way from Aberdeen, Mississippi. So joining the big M's. I am a retired Air Force officer from the United States Air Force, 20 years served, 5 combat tours to war, from the Department of Defense and project management and philanthropy. I've also held roles in cyber networks, also all source intelligence, worked with airframes of different types. And I'm going to tell you, the greatest challenge I've met thus far and the greatest success story that I have is leading the city of Glen Arden as a mayor. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you get to be an impact agent in the lives of those that need it most. And I'm going to tell you, it's nothing greater than the service that comes with the whole office, if you will, of serving as a public servant.
When people think about retirement, Murray, they think about somebody in their 60s and 70s and 80s. When you say retirement, and so when I talk to young people, they almost like disconnect from, well, I'm not ready to retire. And I'm thinking, well, what age? Let's change that word retirement. What age do you want to stop working actively for your income and have your income work for you?
I was in a car accident, unfortunately, and it left me unable to walk for 2 weeks. And this actually happened my last year of college. So I was put at a fork in the road, and I had a choice. I could either continue with my education and see what comes next, or I could, take a break or just all out quit. And I truly believe that what you do with your situations, with your limitations, with what God throws at you, really, really makes a difference in your life. It can make a positive impact, or it can make a negative impact. So what I did is I continued forward. And
the great Dr. Willie Jolly once said, a setback is just a setup for a comeback. We've had a lot of setbacks over these last many months, and it may have gotten you to the point where you don't think a comeback is ever possible. But I'm here to tell you, it's never too late.
And my key message, I feel, is that taking care of your own happiness and well-being and prioritizing self-care should be a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. We need to stop having unrealistic expectations for ourselves, for our employees and loved ones and people around us. Because everyone is unique, everyone has their own unique journey, and acceptance of self and others is the key to happiness. It is to start carving these activities in your life that will nourish your mind, body, and spirit, not just the body.
You are an original. You don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing. I've had so many people try to mimic or duplicate what I'm doing, and I don't have a problem with that. And I'll tell you why. Because if God didn't give them the exact same vision, it may work, but it won't work like the vision He gave me. So it's really not competition, it's something else. So don't let fear or competition stop you from going forward.
One quote that I always would love to share with everybody is, no pain, no gain. So don't brood over your challenges, don't cry, Oh, just wake up, rise up like the phoenix, keep flying from the ashes, and you will attain what you need to attain. You are born for a purpose, and you have to fulfill the purpose before you hit the bucket.
So plan it, see it, anticipate it. Plan what it is that you want to do. Plan where you want to go. See it in your mind, visualize it, and then anticipate it. Know that it's going to happen.
We are back. We are back with Fernando. I always tell myself this platform is a university for me. Is I'm learning so much, and just wanted to ask you, Fernando. So you've, like I said, your journey is really, inspiring. You talked a lot of you talked, us through quickly about it, and then the people who inspired you. So what I want to know is, what is the legacy that you want to leave at the end of the day? What is the legacy you are working toward right now?
The legacy that I'm working towards is, I want to establish, a mindset of growth, of gratitude, just always constantly staying grounded, no matter where the journey takes me, I focus on growth and gratitude, evolution and elevation. And for me, that's what it's all about. And, I speak of my grandparents constantly and heavily. It's always heartfelt because, watching my grandparents do what they did. And for so long, my grandfather, immigrant from Puerto Rico, he had, you know, a son from his first marriage. He served, in the army, during World War II, the Army National Guard down there in Puerto Rico, immigrated to this country in 1944. And then my grandmother, Black American woman, she was just a phenomenal woman. She had 10 children from her, first husband, who had left and abandoned them. And, throughout that time, fate, destiny, it was ordained for my grandfather and my grandmother to meet. My grandfather accepted her and all 10 of her kids and gave her two more. And my mom is the baby of 13 kids of the blended family. One from my grandfather, 10 from my grandmother from their previous situations coming together and then having two more. So a total of 13 kids. And my grandfather worked, 27 years for Lucan Steel Mill. It's a steel industrial production plant in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. Was one of the major mass producers of steel for the United States government during the World Wars and all that stuff, and just throughout the decades. And got hurt on the job and, literally broke his back and was in a body cast for an extended period of time. And living off of, $600 a month pension that he received at the time when I was a kid. And then my grandmother, working many different jobs and holding the fort down for my grandfather. And, since he couldn't really, work and all that. And then, for the family and just having multiple jobs and just still being there, still being the matriarch of the family and like the glue keeping everything together, and to see everything that they did, that they've given of themselves, that they've sacrificed. And for me, the way, that they've lived, was golden. It was exemplary of the true, awesome, amazing man and woman of God that they were. But to see, I feel as though that life shortchanged them, and they should have had so much more and should have been given so much more, honor, love, respect, and whatever have you. And I just always take and to see them and to go through the ups and the downs. And there are a lot of downtime, but to see them together and, they held it down, and they were married for well over 30, close to 40 years of marriage and raising kids and grandkids. And, to see that, it was just always inspiring. And I just always wanted to, replicate that and give that and whatever I could do to be a vessel of just love and peace and empathy and, compassion. Because like I said, I grew up without that. I went through so many different trials and tribulations throughout life, and I'm a father myself, and I just always knew I wanted to replicate the love and compassion that my grandparents had, bestowed upon me, and other people within the family and outside of the family just throughout the years that they lived in. Miss them dearly. They were phenomenal, amazing people.
Fantastic, and it's just so inspiring. I'm listening to it, and it's and that's the thing. That's life, and that's what love creates. When there is love, there is always a legacy that's coming, and that's gonna blossom and go from generation to generation, because you're passing love, and love never dies. So
And with
that's
that
really.
love and by the grace of God, we're breaking generational curses and the trauma of dysfunction, which seems to be the plight of so many families intergenerationally. Everything that
Mhm.
happened, that stops with me, and we're creating a new legacy, creating a new narrative for my bloodline and beyond.
And that's important to break the generation curse, because sometimes you don't even know what's going on in your life. You try, and you don't know, you just fail, and then things just don't go the way you want, and you just forget, you just realize you didn't break that generation curse that is going on, so you have to do something about it. So thank you so much for the inspiration today, Fernando. It's been amazing. It's been a powerful conversation. I'm really grateful that you could grace the this platform today. And so, how do people connect with you if they want to continue, to know more about you, and learn from you, from your wisdom, because there was a lot of wisdom shared today. Obviously, I know there's more, but unfortunately we can't, talk about everything. So, how do people connect with you so far?
First, I just want to say, I appreciate everyone that's who supported me throughout different stages of my career and throughout my life. Whoever's had a hand in my development, it's been one hell of a ride, to say the least. I mean, this is just the beginning. There's more roles in the works, and I can't wait. And I'm absolutely excited, looking forward to just showing even more range as an actor, so I get to show off a little bit more talent and, my je ne sais quoi, if you will. But definitely follow me on social media, Instagram at team_PBA. You can Google me in all your search engines: Fernando Marrero MMA, Fernando Marrero Pro Wrestler, the PBA, the Philly Badass, Philadelphia Badass, all that good stuff. Yeah, just follow me, reach out, connect. And some of the roles I got going on right now, we're looking to finish up a pilot of a spaghetti western called The Sins, Seminole Indian Negro Scouts, directed by Levy Ray Johnson Jr. And also there's a comic fan film franchise that I'm a part of called Triggered. Actor, director, fellow comrade, former professional wrestler extraordinaire himself, Nel Jamal Ham, went by the professional wrestling moniker of Marcus Jordan. Phenomenal writer, creative, multi-hyphenate. And Then You Die. It's a feature film that's soon to come out. We're in pre-stages of development, pre-development stages and all that. Jamal Lewis is number one on the call sheet, lead action star. This is his breakout role. He was in the Barbie movie, and I was given the nod and tugged to be number two on the call sheet in a supporting role, and it's a lot meatier. And hey, we're gonna have fun. We're definitely gonna have some fun.
Definitely, and we wish you all the best, Fernando, with everything, all the projects that you have, in the pipeline. And for those, who still joining us or going to join later on, just going to share again. Happy Gilmore 2, you're part of this cast with Adam Sandler, and a lot coming. You've just shared, what's going to come up, and it's going to be, again, like you said, more work. Stay focused, keep pushing, and really, living your, continuing to live your legacy of love and inspiration. So thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for your time, and really, you really appreciate, the fact that you've opened up to your, to the core, and really share with our audience today. If you have any, last word to share, any message, strong message that you want to leave with, the audience with before we go, that's the time. Otherwise, we're just gonna, say bye bye and leave, and I'll end our conversation today.
No, I appreciate it. I just want to, thank you so much for the opportunity, for having me on, showcasing me on your platform, and to your audience for sharing time, energy, and intelligent thought. And it's been an absolute pleasure. And I look forward to crossing paths with you down the line. And go check out Happy Gilmore 2. It's your boy, Fernando Marrero, or Fernando Marrero. So many great things come down the pipeline. Keep God first. Stay fearless. Hey, let's get it, baby.
Let's get it. Go and watch the movie. It's on Netflix. So just if you don't have Netflix, find someone who has Netflix and just go and check on Fernando and the rest of the cast. So thank you so much. You enjoy the rest of your day, Fernando. And for me, it's a blast to start with such a conversation. Start the day, my Saturday, my weekend, with such a conversation. So I'm really, really grateful again, grateful to God and grateful to you as well. So thank you. May you all be blessed, and I'll be back for another episode of the Greatness Show next week, and it's going to be, again, a very inspiring conversation. So join us, and you can also go to our YouTube channel. We have all the previous episodes. It's been an amazing journey, and it's my university. It's my it's my doctorate to have all those amazing guests and greatness engineers, like I call them, because they all engineer greatness wherever they are. So thank you very much, and I'll be back next week, Friday, again.